Hi there, this is Pete Howard, Director of Concert Posters for Heritage Auctions. And well, we finally got one. I've been waiting 6 years to get one, and we finally got one. The 1965 acid test concert poster with the Grateful Dead playing that was actually used to get people into the event and has the venue box filled in. OMG. What a thrilling moment for Heritage and me as a collector and the poster representative for Heritage. And we have the David Swartz concert poster collection to thank for this one. Just feast your eyes on this. Absolutely amazing. You know, the Grateful Dead, you know, fans like me and you and a lot of us know 66, 67 and so forth. It's just so amazing to hear that year in 1965 in conjunction with the Grateful Dead. It's just absolutely, you know, just amazing. And this is, of course, the Can You Pass the Acid Test poster, which featured the newly named Grateful Dead, as well as the Merry Pranksters, Allen Ginsberg, Neil Cassidy, you know, all kinds of fun things that you see on the poster. So, boy, to get one like this, I mean, now we have sold, of course, Heritage has auctioned off the goldenrod version that is uncut and unused and in a CGC holder and usually graded pretty high, you know, 8.5 or 9 or higher. And those are beautiful things. I mean, they're just, you know, it's the original artifact as printed, and in a CGC holder, it doesn't get banged up at all or anything, even a bent corner anymore or anything. And it's really, it's a great piece. We do love that. But then there is this. This poster was at the event, not stored perfectly, you know, in a storage area somewhere for 50 years and all that. This was at the event, advertising the show for that day. That's right, that very day. I'm sure Tommy and Josh are showing you a close-up of the venue box down there in the lower right-hand corner at the Big Beat, which was a trendy nightclub in the Palo Alto area of, you know, the peninsula of San Francisco, California. And it says at the Big Beat, San Antonio Road near Bayshore. So it's telling people exactly how to get there tonight, Saturday. Wow. So I pointed out before, this poster usually has only a life of 6 days because it says in the graphics printed this Saturday night. So you can only start advertising on a Sunday, 6 days before the event. Well, by writing in the venue box tonight, Saturday, that means they, you know, pulled this one out and put it up in some places the morning, you know, of that Saturday. That's really wild. That's really fun. It just, you know, I don't know, gives me chills just thinking about it. And again, 1965, oh, that's just so early. Hope you have a chance to read my description on this poster, either online or in the catalog. What's wild and crazy is that Jerry Garcia and his girlfriend Mountain Girl talk about this very night at the Big Beat Club, this acid test, because they remembered it pretty well because the Rolling Stone interview was in 1970, only 5 years after this. You know, so wow, it's, you know, it's sure it's 5 crazy years, but still that's not that very long at all. And it's really funny to hear the two banter back and forth about what that night was like. You know, I mean, I remember, but it's in the description with them talking about the two middle-aged ladies who were kind of uptight, and they had rented the club out for $50 or $100, and they were sort of freaking at what was going on. And Jerry and Mountain Girl remember, you know, the pranksters had their booth over here that looked sort of like a cockpit, and the stage was over there, and the two owners, the ladies, were like at the bar very warily watching the proceedings. And it puts you there. It's really fun. It's really very cool. And then, of course, the provenance for this poster, we got it from, you know, well, you've seen the listings in April and July. We have the crayon-drawn poster for the acid test 2 weeks before this, the first public one, and the handbill in July, poster in April, handbill in July. Well, there's pictures in those two listings. There were pictures of the sisters standing in front of a table with those two items, plus this poster, because this is the one that they ended up going to, whereas they didn't go into the crayon-drawn ones, which was the very first public acid test. So you see how it all ties together. It's really fun. But those sisters are named Kathy and Betsy, and they're very much alive and kicking, and I spoke with both of them for the purpose of these heritage sales. Really cool people, sweet ladies, really nice. And they were, telling their story, what they could remember. It's a lot different than what Mountain Girl and Jerry Garcia remembered in 1970, but they, definitely told everything they did remember, and it just adds so nicely the provenance of both the crayon pieces. And then this one, because they went inside, oh my gosh, well, and they, being high schoolers though, they weren't into the acid stuff that a lot of, obviously, hippies were. They wanted the music and the dancing, and that's what they went in, and of course, the Grateful Dead provided the music. Wouldn't it be awesome to have a track list from the acid tests? Oh my gosh, but setlist.fm doesn't have that, certainly. But Kathy and Betsy, I forget which one, I quote them in the piece, talked about, it was like day glow colors everywhere, and strobe lights, and neon, and paisley, all these key words, exactly what you'd expect with psychedelia just coming on in the mid-1960s, inside the gig at the Big Beat Club. By the way, as an aside, who else attended? Lots of riffraff off the streets. That's what Garcia and Mountain Girl talk about again, kind of like hobos and, bums and stuff like that. They wandered in as well. After all, admission was only $1. And that's another really fun, cool element about this specimen, this poster. We're gonna flip it over and show you what's spray painted on the reverse. And there it is. And as you can see, $1 is spray painted on there. So, we don't have the exact timeline hour by hour of how this poster was used, but obviously it was probably right there in the neighborhood saying tonight, Saturday, and then maybe a couple of hours before the event started, it was flipped over and $1 painted on it, and that was put up above the door or something. It's like, well, let your imagination go. But it doesn't take much imagination, because that dollar thing on there, and that's what the, I don't know if that was standardized. What am I talking about? With the Merry Pranksters, nothing was ever standardized, but $1 was very typical of admission for the acid tests. Wow, so this poster, this masterpiece, which of course the Art of Rock gives a full page to, and which is just such an important poster in the evolution of rock music and psychedelia and everything in the San Francisco scene, is known now as the Paul Foster poster. There were some earlier credits given to maybe, was it a collaborative effort, or was it Hartwig, or this or that, but it's known as the Paul Foster poster. And you just never see it in what I'll call its final state like this, and that is having been used. You just almost, I'll say, and never say never see it in its final state. It's just such a thrill to be sitting next to this and putting it in our auction. It's kind of funny, the goldenrod mint ones or whatever that I was talking about, we do see them in CGC holders with 9.0 and 9.4, even a 9.8 once or twice. Well, you know what this is graded? Okay, the terminology is, who cares? Who cares? It's a living, breathing, if it had ears, it would have heard it. If it had a mouth, it would tell us what it saw. But we can just imagine. It's just an incredible piece, and such a landmark piece for Heritage to be offering. I'm just so proud and so happy, and we have to thank the David Schwartz Concert Poster Collection. So the auction of that collection and all our posters takes place all on one day, Friday, November 7th, and starts at noon Central Time, where we are in Texas, of course, in Dallas. And to check it out and read some more words from Garcia and Mountain Girl and the sisters and me and all kinds of people, just go to ha.com/7421.